This is not Trump's war. We're not paying anymore. We should have had a deal done a long time ago. It just keeps going on and on and on.
All right, let's dive right into today's hidden headlines because there's quite a bit coming out of the Oval Office. President Trump, he recently hosted the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte.
Right.
And, well, the big talk was Ukraine and, who's footing the bill?
Indeed. And what's really striking here, I think, is the clear shift. You can hear it in the language, the policy emphasis coming out of these talks.
Yeah.
It really lays out the mission, doesn't it? What President Trump is aiming for regarding the conflict.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to kind of break down the key statements, the agreements or potential agreements from that meeting.
Exactly.
Help you understand what the implications might be for the Ukraine conflict and, well, America's role going forward.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so first up, President Trump, he really came out swinging with a strong statement.
I do want to make one statement. Again, I said it before. This is not Trump's war. We're here to try and get it finished and settled and whatever.
He said, this is not Trump's war.
Right.
We're here to try and get it finished and settled. This was Biden and this was other people, and it's a very sad situation. Pretty direct.
Very direct. And if we, look at the bigger picture here, his comments are clearly putting the blame or attributing the start and continuation of the conflict to decisions made under Biden and, well, others. He's really stressing his commitment to wrap it up and quickly, pushing for diplomacy, trying to end the violence, stop the loss of life.
So he's framing it very specifically.
He is. And, it raises that question, doesn't it? What does it signal when a leader frames a conflict, especially its origins, in this particular way?
Yeah, exactly. So for you, the listener, think about that. What stands out when you hear responsibility assigned so directly? How does that set the stage maybe for his whole approach here? Okay, let's shift gears a bit to the money, the financial side, because this is where it gets really interesting.
Yes, the burden sharing aspect.
President Trump made it, well, unequivocally clear about weapons for Ukraine.
Just they're paying for everything. We're not paying anymore. We have an ocean separating us. I said we have a problem. We make the best stuff, but we can't keep doing this. And Biden should have done this years ago.
He said, and I'm quoting again, just so you know, Europe is paying for everything. We're not paying anymore.
Wow. Just lays it out there.
Right. He goes on, we have an ocean separating us. We make the best stuff, but we can't keep doing this, and Biden should have done this years ago.
Okay, so unpacking that. It's an explicit statement, isn't it? The U.S., under this plan, stops bearing the financial burden. At least not like before.
Right. No more blank checks, seems to be the message.
Exactly. And he points to what the U.S. has done, the significant contributions already made. But then there's the criticism, why didn't Biden get Europe to commit financially much sooner?
Yeah, he's putting the onus squarely on them now.
He is, stressing that Europe, because they're right there, geographically close, they should be the ones funding these U.S.-made weapons for Ukraine. It's a direct challenge to how things were done previously.
It's a bold declaration, definitely. The idea that an ocean means a shift in financial responsibility. What do you make of that? For you listening, how does that geographic argument land?
It's a core part of his argument, clearly. Proximity equals responsibility in this view.
Okay, and speaking of the conflict itself, the human side of it, President Trump, he expressed some, well, deep frustration. He said, we should have had a deal done a long time ago. Every night, people are dying. A lot of Russian soldiers are dying, by the way, and a lot of Ukrainian soldiers, too.
We should have had a deal done a long time ago. But it just keeps going on and on and on. And every night, people are dying. A lot of Russian soldiers are dying, by the way.
Yeah, that really brings up the diplomatic angle or maybe the perceived failures there.
Right.
He's clearly frustrated it's dragged on this long, saying, diplomacy under the previous leadership didn't get it done fast enough.
And he's highlighting the cost.
The human toll, absolutely. On both sides, he makes sure to mention, emphasizing that a deal, a swift agreement, is just crucial to stop the killing, stop the destruction. It's a very raw, very human perspective he's putting forward there.
So when a leader talks so openly about the human cost, the deaths, and points fingers at past failures to make peace, what does that signal to you? What does that make you, the listener, think about the urgency he feels?
It suggests a real impatience with the status quo, a desire to force a resolution, perhaps.
Okay, now, for what seems like a very concrete outcome from this meeting, a really significant development.
Right.
President Trump announced what he calls a specific agreement. Quote, We make the best equipment, the best missiles. The European nations know that.
We make the best equipment, the best missiles, the best of everything. The European nations know that. And we've made a deal today, and I'm going to have Mark speak about it, but we've made a deal today where we are going to be sending them weapons and they're going to be paying for them.
He's definitely confident in the product.
No question. He continues. We've made a deal today where we're going to be sending them weapons and they're going to be paying for them. The United States will not be having any payment made.
Okay, so that's it. That's the policy shift in action right there.
Seems like it.
During these talks with NATO folks, he's saying, right, an agreement was actually secured. European nations fully financed the U.S. gear going to Ukraine.
And he links it back to the quality argument.
Exactly. We have the best stuff. They want it. They pay for it. It directly reflects that policy, doesn't it? Reduce U.S. financial commitment significantly, but still support Ukraine just using allied money.
It's a very tangible result of that America First approach applied to this specific situation.
It is. You know, putting this into practice, it'll mean big adjustments for European budgets, how they buy military hardware. That's definitely something to watch.
Absolutely. That's a massive shift, isn't it, how these operations are funded? For you listening, what's the immediate takeaway? When you hear Europe pays for U.S. arms, what comes to mind first?
It changes the whole dynamic.
And look, it wasn't just President Trump saying these things. We also heard from the NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte.
Ah, yes. Rutte's perspective is key here.
And he provided a very telling confirmation. He said, addressing President Trump, you, Donald Trump, want Ukraine to have what it needs.
Okay.
But you want the Europeans to pay for it, which is totally logical.
Wow. Totally logical.
You have taken a decision. And the decision is that you want Ukraine what it needs to have to maintain, to be able to defend itself against Russia, but you do want the Europeans to pay for it, which is totally logical.
That's quite a statement from the head of NATO.
Isn't it?
So you have the NATO Secretary General directly acknowledging and apparently agreeing with Trump's whole push. Ukraine gets the support, yes, but Europe covers the cost.
He's endorsing the burden-sharing focus.
Seems like it. Describing it as totally logical suggests, a clear alignment on that specific point. It came after, what they call productive talks. So it seems both leaders agreed. Support Ukraine, yes, but don't over-rely on U.S. cash.
It signals a united front, maybe, but on different terms than before.
Potentially, yeah. A united front with a very clear financial arrangement attached.
So hearing the NATO chief echo President Trump like that, what does that signal to you listening at home about the future, about how NATO might handle burden sharing down the road?
It suggests this model might have legs within the alliance, or at least serious consideration.
All right, so let's just quickly recap this deep dive into today's hidden headlines. We've heard President Trump's clear statements on how he sees the war's origins. A really firm stance that European nations should fully fund the U.S. military aid.
Right.
And then a stated agreement, a deal to make that happen. And critically, that deal being acknowledged, even called logical, by the NATO Secretary General himself.
It really points to a fundamental reevaluation, doesn't it? How these international security burdens get divided up.
Absolutely.
And, if we zoom out, think about the bigger picture. This shift, it really prompts a big question. How might this new model, this emphasis on who pays, impact NATO dynamics long term?
Yeah, and other alliances too, maybe?
Could be. What are the wider implications for global security, for actually achieving peace, when the money becomes such a central, explicit part of military aid discussions?
That's definitely something to think about.
It really is. Something worth mulling over long after you're done listening.